Hello everyone. We're a small group today, so feel free to interrupt me at any time. But as Alfonso said, I am Claudia. I'm from Italy. I'm currently a research analyst at Circular Economy. I've been with this company around 2 years now. Started with an internship, but then found my way in, and it's been great so far. And I'm happy to kind of give you a piece of what we do today. We are going to have around an hour together to explore what the circular economy is and how it relates to other urgent agendas such as energy transition and climate action. So let's start. First, for who doesn't know us yet, Circular Economy is a global impact organization with an international team of experts based in Amsterdam. Our vision is an economic system that ensures that both people and the planet can thrive. And our mission is to deliver practical and scalable circular economy solutions to different stakeholders, such as businesses, cities, nations, but also other stakeholders in civil society and academia. And it's, let's say, like the ultimate goal for us is to avoid climate breakdown, and to do so, we want to double circularity by 2032. So this is the agenda for the day. So our main goal today is to give you a brief overview of what the circular economy means and why it's needed, but also for you to put this idea into practice. So that's what the workshop will mostly be about. So we're first going to look about what is the circular economy, a few examples, and then we're going to have a group exercise before we wrap up. So why the circular economy? Why is it important? Well, let's also start from understanding what's the linear economy first. A linear economy is the system that currently prevails in the world and traditionally follows the take, make, waste path. This means that raw materials are extracted, transformed into products, and finally used to be discarded as waste. In this economic system, you can see how value is created by producing and selling as many products as possible, but that also means that waste generation will increase at the end of the pipe. And if we continue with business as usual, with the linear economy, we will not avoid climate breakdown. Between COP21 in Paris and COP26 in Glasgow, actually, more than 500 billion tons of virgin materials were consumed. So in only 6 years, this headline-grabbing climate conferences, the global economy consumed 70% more than what the Earth can safely replenish. And in only 50 years, we can see how the global use of materials has nearly quadrupled, outpacing population growth. Because if we start in 1972, when the Club of Rome's report on limits to growth was published, the world consumed 28.6 billion tons. By 2020, this had gone up to 54.9. And as of 2019, it surpassed 100 billion tons. And of course, raising waste levels are accompanying this rapid acceleration in consumption. And what it means is that we're currently living outside of planetary boundaries. So what we need to do is stop 1 second and redesign and rethink the system we live in, because the current take, make, waste pattern is clearly not working. So in a circular economy instead, materials and products are used to their fullest potential and continuously reused, refurbished, and recycled in a system that is potentially waste-free down the line. In this way, the circular economy aims to achieve an inclusive economic, social, and environmental prosperity within the boundaries of our planet. And this all kind of stems for the fact that we want to make efficient use of resources for everyone. But what is the current status of the circular economy in the world? Well, at Circular Economy, we try to measure this through our Circularity Gap initiative. And thanks to our research, we estimated that in 2021, the world was only 8.6% circular. That means that only 8.6% of materials that are used are cycled back into the economy, and they leave behind what we call a big circularity gap. The bad news is that unfortunately, the data in 2018 showed that the world was 9.1% circular, meaning that global circularity is trending down. The good news is that we only need to roughly double this 8.6% to be effective and limit global warming to well below 1.5 degrees Celsius. In fact, by doubling circularity, we can change the course of climate change by first reducing emissions by 39% and limit global resource extraction by 28%. This is what we calculated to be the main reason why we'll get to steer well below 1.5 temperature increase. So basically what we're saying here is that combining the twin agenda of circular economy and climate mitigation together with the energy transition is crucial to actually move towards a sustainable world. But how can we close the circularity gap? We need to move from a linear system that we saw today, that makes, wastes resources and disposes of materials. And then we need to cycle back materials and products and close the circularity gap. And to do so, we need innovative solutions. And that's where the circular economy comes in. So let's define the circular economy and circular economy principles. To do so, circular economy has developed a conceptual framework of 8 key elements that can be applied at different levels, national, regional, businesses, but also at a product level. The key element framework, or as we call it, consists of 3 core elements, the one that you see in blue, and 5 enabling elements, the one that you see like in darker blue. Core elements are the ones that deal directly with physical flows and align with the other common frameworks related to the circular economy. So, for example, the 3 Rs. They are mostly related to like prioritizing regenerative resources, stretching the lifetime of products, and using waste as a resources. While enabling elements on the other side, they deal with creating the condition and removing barriers for a circular transition. They can therefore kind of like accelerate the uptake of circularity by removing obstacles, and we define them as new knowledge and research, new collaboration, new technology, new business models, and also new ways of designing products and services. So today we are also here to give you some practical examples of how this works. And let's start with the design for the future. We have an example here of Fairphone. That is a great example, as it is the first modular phone on the market. It is designed for repairability, which significantly improves a product that otherwise, as we all know, has a limited time span. There are also within the company environmental, social aspects like the sourcing of materials from war-free zones are part of the core values of the company, and they also try to source materials in a way that improves working conditions. These are therefore kind of like key values on top of circular elements. And also in the use of Fairphone, the participation of the customer plays an important role in adopting this new business model, and it's kind of like a DIY service. An example of digital technology, as you can see here in the picture, is Fibersort, which is a technology that automatically sorts large volumes of mixed post-consumer textiles, and it sorts it by fiber type. So once it's sorted, these materials become reliable and consistent input for a high-value reuse of textiles. And the Fibersort is in operation in Europe, and some materials that were sorted by this facility are now commercially available. It is the first of its kind globally, and the pilot will increasingly prove its efficiency. But if adopted, this is a really big gateway technology that will open the market of recycled textile materials that now is experiencing a lot of problems worldwide. Another example that you might know is Patagonia. This mainly relates to, it's an apparel blend, and this mainly relates to stretching the lifetime of products, so extending their life cycle of products that are already made. And Patagonia is a pioneering brand for this in many ways. It has established a repair service directly in store. They also offer a repair guide on their website. And on top of that, they also offer free repairs of their products in the store. And at the end, if you don't want the repair product, they will just sell it at their platform called Wornware. So it's a way to like keep products in the loop for as long as possible. For rethink the business model, we have here an example. Bundles is a service that gives access to energy efficient and expensive appliances at a limited upfront investment. So basically what it means is that instead of buying a washing machine, you rent one, and as a result, you use less energy, water, and detergent because it has a higher technology. And on top of that, also the lifespan of these machines is much longer than cheaper ones. For using waste as a resource, instead we have another example from the Netherlands, it's called In Stock, and it's making a difference in preventing tons of waste of food ending in landfills. It was established in 2014. The founders met at an Albertijn supermarket in the Netherlands. They were assistant supermarket managers, and they saw an opportunity to create a better destination of unsold products. So with the support of the supermarket, Albertijn, they've been able to realize their business. The food waste generation in Holland is a big problem. On average, people throw away 41 kilos of food per person. And that's only one household waste, like the amount that one household wastes in a year. And In Stock saw an opportunity here. So they pick up products from 160 different stores in the Netherlands and redistribute them for a fair price. For another example of prioritizing regenerative resources, not only because it's also kind of like a design example, designing for future. It's OVO, that is a product made of biodegradable plastics. It's called Notpla. And it's a material made from seaweed and plants that actually disappears and naturally biodegrades. It replaces plastic packaging. It's made of seaweed also, that is a plant that grows up to, of a particular kind that grows up to 1 meter per day. So it does not compete with food crops. It doesn't need fresh water to be irrigated, and it doesn't need fertilizer. So it actually even actively contributes to de-acidifying the ocean. So this is like an example of how different elements can actually be combined into one product. And we're almost arriving to the end of our example. An example of collaboration is Loop. It's an effective partnership that engaged with different stakeholders, mainly 9 Unilever brands, which were product manufacturing brands, but also retailers such as Carrefour, shipping companies such as UPS, and the resource management companies such as Suez. So really leaders in recycling. And they introduced a reusable, refillable packaging service to help cut waste. So basically what they had is like a new way of shopping. So you buy products in packaging that can be returned and refilled. It's currently available in the United States, in Paris, and it's expanding across the United States and the United Kingdom, also with plans to go to Canada, Germany, and Japan. And the materials that they mainly use are aluminium, glass, and stainless steel. And lastly, as an example of like how to strengthen and advance knowledge around the circular economy, it's Us Circular Economy. We do build knowledge and skills by educating and training key stakeholders through workshops like these ones, trainings, advocacy campaigns, but also organizing and facilitating working groups and change management. We also have a consistent research team of experts that is constantly working to close knowledge gaps in the circular economy field. And together with our partners and clients, we execute research that is open sourced and delivers facts and data about the circular economy so that we can continue innovation in the field. And I'm gonna stop here. We are a small group, so please feel free to ask questions. I'm gonna leave the silence for a second and wait for questions to come up. And then we can move to a group exercise. But are there any questions so far?
Yes, I would have a question. And I was wondering, you put the focus mainly on the economy now for solving the problem with climate change. But I just wondered, you also think that we have to change other things than just the circular, like the economy part. So what do you think about that?
What do you, sorry, what will be the question?
So if you just think that we need to change the economy part, like to transfer it to a circular economy, and that will solve the climate crisis, or if you also have to change other things, because you mentioned that we also need other things that need to be changed, and I was wondering, can you elaborate on that, because I wasn't sure what you meant with the other things.
Yeah, I mean, the circular economy is a way to change how we produce and consume things. So it's both on the producer and consumer side, because you need the infrastructure to be able to make sustainable choices. So there is a beginning of the pipe change needed, as we've seen if there are companies that allow you to shop sustainably because their business model is based on refillable and reusable packaging made cheap for you, then you're much more likely to choose that product over another one, and therefore reduce your waste generation at home. But the circular economy is a holistic approach, so it really focuses on both sides. It changes the way we produce and consume goods and services so that resources are kept in the loop for as much as possible. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Any other question? We're a small group, so you can just really unmute yourself and ask a question.
I was wondering if you have like data on, so one of the biggest drivers of startups or their ideas or how they work is like the funding from the VCs and like, I mean, all the funding sources that comes and what their requirements are. So would you be aware of like funding sources that have been rising or that specifically only fund circular startups that, you know, propose circular economy? Is there a rise in such investment and things like this?
Absolutely. It's unfortunately very Western focused in the sense, I mean, I talk with from my experience with cities, and so the funding that we usually see, but the European Union has made of the circular economy a pillar of the Green New Deal. So a lot of funding has been directed towards actions at different levels, cities being one that the stakeholders I would mainly work with, but also a lot of innovation in businesses, especially maybe related, one example that I can give you is related to the bioeconomy. So like all the biodegradable products and made from waste or that are circular by design. So there are a lot of funding made available, especially given the post-COVID recovery, which in a lot of countries is being tied to green targets, but it is not a widespread thing. In the global south, funding is still very limited to foundation and kind of like external help. And it's not something that is made like that is core of budgeting of national and local governments.
Also, if I may add, because this is a topic very dear to me, there's a lot of accelerators that specialize on clean tech technology, and as well, there are many corporate VCs, like companies that want to improve their supply chain, and they accept ideas and startups into their umbrella so that they can help them grow.
Okay, thanks. I mean, I'll reach out to you guys also for figures. I would also be interested, like, also to see if there is a rise in such numbers, and like that would be very interesting to see.
Yes, there's a report from Swiss in Notpla, and they gather figures, but I don't know them by heart. It's quite difficult to know. Yeah. I can send you the report if you're interested.
Yeah, and for circular economy, we do have a team working on financing the circular economy. So you can go on our website and look at their resources. I'm sure you will find interesting reports and figures.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, I think we can move on then. Yeah. So I don't know how many we are in the call now, but it doesn't seem like many. So I think maybe we can just stay in the call, us, instead of breaking up in breakout rooms. But yeah, what we wanted to do today is explore with you circular strategies. So we want you to think about an everyday product and then apply circular design principles to come up with a better solution. And then we can pitch our idea. So the exercise is divided in 3 parts. We kind of like want you to first explore, we can think of a product and how it's normally being used, what are the challenges, environmental, social, economic, that relates to the product, and then pick one based on these kind of considerations. And then we want to have a circular idea, so actually apply the key elements into practice, so to this product, so that it can be more circular. And we can do this by applying all the elements that we've seen. So it really is an exercise to go for quantity and try different combinations rather than just like focusing on one. But then we can kind of focus more and make our case. So choose one that works best for us and understand why it's better for the user, why it's circular, and what system needs to be in place for the uptake of this technology. And we can do this together now. I can share my screen directly. I have like a little Miro board, but you can also go, maybe Alfonso, do you have the link? Or I can send the link in the chat.
Yes, thank you. And so that everybody knows, I will stop recording this session.